Jackson Arnold has entered the transfer portal, and we need to talk about what that means for Oklahoma, some likely destinations for him, and what Ben Arbuckle might have up his sleeve. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of the instant reaction that I give right away as soon as we get some news that I think you can use. And that way I'm replacing cable news sports directors everywhere. I'm joking. Cable news sports directors are awesome. That said, I want to talk about Jackson Arnold. I want to talk about Oklahoma's quarterback situation. I want to talk about Oklahoma and the SEC as a whole and what this could mean for the dominoes falling. We've seen Connor Wigman go into the transfer portal. We saw Miller Moss go into the transfer portal. And now we have seen a former 5-star and National Gatorade Player of the Year in Jackson Arnold enter the transfer portal after what was quite the down year for Oklahoma. Finishes 6-6 in large part because Jackson Arnold was not good as a quarterback. A lot of Oklahoma fans are going to end up in the comments telling you what I'm about to just share for you. They're going to say, good riddance, goodbye, good sayonara, don't want to see you anymore. We want somebody who can throw for 300 yards. We want somebody who doesn't get spooked behind the offensive line. We want somebody that knows how to absolutely be accurate downfield. And we want somebody that is tied to the offensive coordinator, but also is tied to scoring a bunch of points. That's one of the reasons that we ended up in this position in the first place. Jeff Lebby, who had Dylan Gabriel, right? That quarterback offensive coordinator relationship is one that is very, very important. And I'm going to give more reasons as to why that is and other places you can look. And that was able to propel Oklahoma into a 10-win season. When they were simpatico, Oklahoma was damn near unstoppable. Beat Texas, that made the college football playoff last year, and frankly, beat a college football playoff team this year if Alabama gets into this thing at 5-5 and with a depleted offense and a depleted defense, mostly due to injury, but also because you missed on the quarterback. Oklahoma hasn't made a habit of missing on quarterback. It's been a long time since Oklahoma had a real miss at quarterback, and I think you even got to go back to Trevor Knight, which people would say is not really that big a miss. It probably go further back to Rhett Bomar, and if you are of a certain age, you remember Nate Hibble. And a close friend of mine told me that she believes that Jackson Arnold reminds her too much of Nate Hibble because he just does not look happy and or brave back there. It is the thing that drew us to Baker Mayfield. He's a brave soul, and he would wear his heart on his sleeve the way that Oklahoma fans tend to wear ours. We want somebody that personifies the state, personifies this program. Is why many people are behind Brent Venables and his character and charisma. They just want to see him win more football games. And it's also why if you leave Oklahoma in the way that Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, you might not be welcomed back with open arms, right? Be one of these things where people say hi because we're that kind of polite in Oklahoma, not hi because, well, we're happy to see you, right? You go to parts of New York, they don't even talk to you if they don't want to. That's not who we are. But we are going to say, you sit on that side of the aisle when we go to church, and I'm going to sit on this side of the aisle when we go to church. Just because we share the same roof doesn't mean that we're going to sit next to each other in the pew. That's kind of what it's like right now. And you know what? There's a lot of Oklahoma fans that feel that way about Jackson Arnold because it's been a long time since Oklahoma had an offense that was just this awful. It's terrible. It's bad. So Arnold enters the portal, and that means that Oklahoma has a need at quarterback. I'm not in on the Michael Hawkins Jr. experience the way that it seemed like it was going to be, mostly because that dude could hold on to the football, and then when he stopped holding on to the football, then it became the Jackson Arnold show once again, and Jackson Arnold ends up getting the win against the top 10 Alabama. Alabama only comes to Oklahoma to get beat. That's twice they've been to Oklahoma in the last 2 times they've gotten beat. Now, does this mean that the John Mateer era is going to happen at Oklahoma? There are those that believe that this is the sign. This is it. You have cleared the space. You have absolutely said, hey, John, leave Washington State and bring you behind down here to rejoin up with Ben Arbuckle because you and Ben Arbuckle, y'all be a match made in heaven. We saw what you was doing at Wazzu. We'd like you to do that down here. I think there's something to this, right? Coordinators and quarterbacks, I think going in tandem is a good thing. Lincoln Riley actually made this real, right? When he went with Baker Mayfield, and you could see those guys being on the same page led to 2 Heisman finalists, a Heisman Trophy, and he's been on the same page with most of his quarterbacks. And when he's able to treat those dudes like little brothers and they can treat him like a big brother, it goes well. It's one of the reasons why maybe Jackson Arnold looks at USC and Lincoln Riley. Maybe Jackson Arnold looks at Arkansas, which I think would make them, I don't know, maybe you think you got Taylor Green and that's going to be what it is, right? Malachi Singleton going into the portal makes that a place for you, and maybe you want to go get him. Maybe make him your heir apparent. And then there's places like Ole Miss, though I think Austin Simmons is set there. I think they got a guy to replace Jackson Dart. You can look around the rest of the country and you can find spots for Jackson Arnold to land. I don't think you're going to have a hard time finding a spot for Jackson Arnold to land. Like UCLA is going to need a quarterback, but they might think that they got something, right? I can keep going down the line. I can throw names at you, and any one of these names might fit because Jackson Arnold has the athleticism and the tools to be a great player. It's just he doesn't seem to see it in a college game. The RPO that he was renowned for running in high school just went away. He seemed like not only does he not know how to run that offense, but he's inaccurate with his passes. You can't have an inaccurate quarterback. That's just it. Him being able to run, okay, cool, play wide receiver. Play tailback. Like Billy Bowman can run. We don't have him throwing the ball. Like that's the thing. So Oklahoma needs a quarterback. Need a guy that can defend himself back there. And by defend himself, I mean the offensive line is probably not going to allow you to stay clean all that much. And frankly, you are the man that people usually leave unblocked and untested. So you can run around people, run out. Jackson Arnold was able to do a little bit of that. To that end, Oklahoma adding Michael Fasusi today is also a huge win that we can't overlook, but I'm just going to mention it because signing day doesn't mean what signing day used to mean with the portal opening up. That's why we're doing a portal segment, not a signing day segment today, because that's basically the pace of college football today. The other thing I would want to point out here is there's still lots of conversation about what Ben Arbuckle is or isn't. I think there's something to be said about Brent Venables hiring a couple of coordinators that are not even 30 yet, and both of those guys still got some growing up to do, and as far as, being coaches, but I think it's a good mix. I think having an old man like Brent Venables to let the young guns go is going to be a good thing. Zach Alley knows what he's doing on that defense, and in large part because he learned at Brent Venables' knee. We'll see what Ben Arbuckle can add, but the Lincoln Riley vibes that you're getting from Ben Arbuckle, I think, are important to note, and there's reasons good and bad for that. Hiring another offensive coordinator from West Texas that has put up a lot of numbers in a Mike Leach-style offense in the Boondocks, whether it be Texas Tech, East Carolina, or in this case, Washington State and Pullman, is going to give you the what-fors and the how-nows because, well, we've been down this road. But, Oklahoma running a pro-style offense just doesn't seem like what Oklahoma's going to do. Doesn't seem like that's what Brent Venables wants to do. I don't give a damn what the offense looks like. I don't give a damn if you're running I formation, running the wishbone, running 5 wide. I don't care if you run the oop-de-oop. I care that the offense is healthy because I believe it's about Jimmy's and Joe's. It ain't about X's and O's. If I got better players than you, it don't matter what I'm running. I can run whatever I want if I got better players than you. But even when Oklahoma's got better players, they got to be healthy. So I want to know that the team is going to be healthy because the amount of injuries that Oklahoma sustained on that offense and on that defense is ridiculous. I can't get that one straight in my head. Gentry Williams was almost never healthy. Deion Burks, never healthy. Nick Anderson, never healthy. Where the hell was Andrell Anthony? Gavin Sawchuk, almost never saw him. Javonte Barnes had one good game, couldn't play against Missouri. Like, we can keep going down the line on this one, right? To say nothing of having a quarterback that just didn't trust what he saw and didn't understand what it meant to be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma when it's a bad day. That's what you need to go and get if you are Ben Arbuckle. If John Mateer is that guy, then cool. John Mateer is that guy. Baker was that guy. I know that there's lots of people that already want to assign Baker Mayfield to John Mateer. I'm saying y'all are asking a lot of that dude. The mere fact that Ben Arbuckle has been hired as offensive coordinator leads me to two things. One, they were able to find a guy after losing Cam Ward to Miami. And Cam Ward is going to be a Heisman finalist and probably is the answer to the Jets or the Giants' prayers in as far as quarterback in the NFL draft next year. Being able to lose that guy and go straight to John Mateer and still put up points speaks well about the offensive coordinator's not just his scheme, but his ability to identify players. So if he goes and gets John Mateer, we know that he identified somebody that can run the offense. We also know that John Mateer wanted to go. But if he goes and gets somebody else, I'm willing to let that slide, right? We're gonna wait this out until we start playing ball again in September to see whether or not this is working. And by the end of September, we'll have a read on this because we always have a read on this and we're reactionary like everybody else. But the thing I also want to add here is John Mateer ain't gone into the transfer portal. And when he goes in the transfer portal, we'll talk about him going in the transfer portal. But I need you to stop putting this man in the transfer portal until he's in the transfer portal, okay? Wazzu still trying to figure out what bowl it's going to get to play in. And you know what? Maybe he does want to play in a bowl game, especially if Wazzu ends up playing against Colorado in the Alamo Bowl, which is very much on the table. That is a large audience to play football in front of, and a lot of people going to watch you play that game. He goes for 3 bills against that Colorado team. He puts up 4 touchdowns. He might think that he could do better, or the Washington State alumni might actually do what's right and go pay that man everything they can pay that man to keep him in Pullman until such times they figure out who their guy is going to be. So I want to get on here and talk about Jackson Arnold entering. I want to acknowledge Michael Fasusi's signing with Oklahoma and give a little bit of talk about this time of tier. But we'll keep talking about this as we head toward the conference championship game this weekend. And I'll see y'all probably just tomorrow, the next day. Deuces.